Okay, how you doing? My mom just got me this Patagonia Nano puff jacket at Costco for 170 bucks. It, but if you don't have enough time to watch a YouTube video, I just want to let you know that I love it. I put it on for like 1 minute and I fell in love with it after like 1 minute. I just walked out the door and started living in it. One little thing to note is it doesn't have a cinch on the hood, so the hood is kind of, it fits a helmet, and it kind of is kind of flippity floppity. Also, it's got this little bit of texture around the collar right here, because when you zip it up, it's kind of firm, and so that texture is intended to kind of rub against your chin here. All right, but otherwise it kind of goes over your face like this for warmth. Can go like that. Okay, that's kind of like the major issue, is that it has a funny hood, but the hood really prevents the top of the jacket from getting cold. Some salesmen, like at REI, they might tell you that this is a kind of a cold jacket because it's got all this stitching, it's got all the quilting on it. But really what I found is that the cold spots are really on the arm here, and that the hood prevents the chest area from getting cold. And the major controversy about the Nano Puff is that Patagonia also makes the Nano Air. So there's two different synthetic jackets from Patagonia. One is the Nano Puff, the other one's the Nano Air. The Nano Air maybe is a little bit better. If you're planning on sitting in the cold and eating, you might want to get the Nano Air, because it's basically a synthetic sweatshirt, where the Nano Puff is an upgrade from the old Nano Puff. So the old Nano Puff from Patagonia, it had Primaloft something, Primaloft 1. And this one has got Primaloft Gold. Primaloft Gold has been around for a while. It's basically like the other Climashield Apex. There's a really amazing synthetic insulation out there called Climashield Apex, which is offered by throughhiker.com, and it's also in a kit, and it's also offered by Enlightened Equipment already sewn together. So you can get Climashield Apex jackets or quilts from Enlightened Equipment, and that's kind of like the major competitor to the Nano Puff now. But the Nano Puff has a lot more bells and whistles on it. For instance, pockets. The Torrid jacket from Enlightened Equipment, it doesn't have pockets. So another competitor would be, let me switch this camera around. Turkey here. Okay, this is the thermostatic jacket from Mountain Hardwear, and this is the Spark from Mountain Hardwear, and that's the Flame. All right, so these are all made out of synthetic insulation. So let's talk about synthetic insulation for a second here. We've got the Primaloft Gold, which I have on, and you've got the Q-Core from Mountain Hardwear, and there's also another kind of insulation out there called Climashield Apex. Climashield Apex is probably the best. Primaloft Gold is kind of like the silver medalist, and there's another one called the Primaloft Gold X, which is offered by the Rab Xenon X jacket. And then Mountain Hardwear has their own polyester synthetic insulation called Q-Core. Now, Q-Core is the most luxurious. It's the most breathable and the softest and most comfortable, but it's not as warm. Okay, so this is actually warmer. Climashield Apex is like the warmest, and then maybe Primaloft Gold is like the second place warmest, and then the Q-Core is the bronze medalist. But the important thing to understand about synthetic insulation and how to use it is it's really for athletic jackets like this one. I'll hold on, I'm going to put the Nano Puff next. So as you can see, the proper way to use synthetic insulation right off the bat is as a summer bag. So you've got your athletic jacket here for getting exercise in the cold. You got an athletic jacket here for getting exercise in the cold. And as you can see, they're very similar. One has a hood and the other one doesn't. So the cold spot on the one without the hood is kind of around the shoulders. The cold spot on the jacket with the hood is kind of on the arms. But I think the hood works better because since there is a cold spot on the arms that prevents you from sweating, I noticed that I sweat a lot in the Mountain Hardwear thermostatic jacket, and a little bit less in the Nano Puff since it's a little bit more breathable. And breathability is a huge aspect of synthetic insulation. So over here we have the winter bag. This is a 20 bag, and this is too big. Okay, this doesn't work. So once you get down to 3-season and 4-season bags, that's starting to take up too much space in the pack. That really you need a 55-liter pack to put that in there, and it's not very small. The only advantage of it is that you can wash it. You can get it dirty and wet, and you can wash it. That's the advantage of all this stuff. But the issue is that if you're in conditions that drop down to freezing, it's going to fail. So this Spark is a great summer bag. I used it many, many times, but if it gets cold at 4 in the morning and if it drops down to 35, it's not going to work. So you're going to, at the very minimum, you're going to need like a merino wool bag liner or something to add to the sleep system to get this to work. And you can't really go thicker or heavier. This really isn't snow or winter gear. As you can see, this is the flame over here that's too big. Okay, so basically the proper way to use these synthetic insulations is as an athletic cold weather jacket or as a summer bag. This is like a 2-season bag. This is basically like an Adidas Beastie Boy Run DMC sweat jacket, but it's highly technical. It's like 10 denier nylon with the synthetic insulation inside. The Nano Puff has got thicker nylon. Now I'll show you that this 7 denier or 10 denier nylon over here, it ripped. Okay, so you see the tenacious tape patch on the thermostatic. Patagonia has addressed that issue and put some like 20 or 40 denier nylon on there. But that's actually a better idea, you know. This nylon isn't going to rip, which is kind of a big deal with this design. So, you know, like the Nano Air, it doesn't rip because it's basically a synthetic sweatshirt where it's all fused together. Where these jackets, where the insulation is in the middle, it's like a sandwich, like a peanut butter sandwich. The nylon is the bread and the synthetic insulation is the peanut butter. Okay? So one issue, just one extra tidbit of information that I want to add to this video is just that, you know, Mountain Hardwear has addressed a lot of issues with this technical polyester synthetic insulation. Okay, when you exhale, the carbon dioxide that comes out of your breath, it goes down with gravity like water and it creates a puddle. That's why it's important to use an air pad with baffles, because dirt, water, and carbon dioxide that you're breathing out drops down into those baffles and flows out away from you. Because even though it's healthy to breathe carbon dioxide, it helps you feel relaxed. It can give you a headache if you breathe too much of it. You can choke on it. Okay, so it creates a puddle in front of your face that you can choke on. Now, when you're inside of a mummy bag, that carbon dioxide can gather inside of your hood, and you can choke on it. You can wake up with a headache. Now, Mountain Hardwear has addressed that. This Q-Core insulation is so breathable that the carbon dioxide is actually able to pass through that nylon and out of the bag, so that you feel good in the morning. You don't have a headache from breathing your own carbon dioxide. So this nylon that they're using on the Spark, you can see my fingers straight through it. It's very, very breathable, and so is the Q-Core. So even though this bag isn't warm enough to use in the snow, it's so breathable. This is a highly technical bag, okay? So that's something that Primaloft Gold and Primaloft Gold X needs to address, is that, you know, is ClimaShield Apex and Primaloft Gold just as breathable as Q-Core? Because even though Q-Core isn't as warm, it's so breathable and so functional and so versatile and so comfortable and so luxurious, and it does so well in the washing machine, that's the kind of competition that Primaloft Gold and Primaloft Gold X and ClimaShield Apex are dealing with. I know that I don't know much about Enlightened Equipment's products, but I know that the thruhiker.com 10 denier or 7 denier nylon that they sell to people, it doesn't breathe. So when you put your mouth on it, you can suck it into your mouth and you can actually choke on it. So if you look at the designs of Apex quilts, they don't have a hood. And the reason they don't have a hood is because you can't breathe through that nylon. So Mountain Hardwear has addressed that, and they've given you a nylon that's so breathable that your carbon dioxide actually is able to flow down with gravity out of the bag. This is really, really breathable stuff. So you don't get that with like a through hiker quilt. You know, when you look at Enlightened Equipment quilts and other kinds of down quilts and UL Apex quilts, you can choke on them. If you put your mouth on that nylon, you can suck that nylon into your mouth. So those are the kind of issues that Mountain Hardwear has addressed that, you know, causes the Mountain Hardwear gear to be legitimate competition for the other guys like Patagonia and Rab and Enlightened Equipment and Thru Hiker and some of the other, you know, UL companies that people trust for the AT trail and stuff like that. So, you know, these are the jackets, okay? There's the thermostatic, there's the Nano Puff, here's the Spark, there's the Flame. I don't have, you know, the Rab Xenon jacket here. I don't have the Enlightened Equipment Torrid here. But, you know, this just gives you an idea of what
synthetic insulation can do. And basically the bottom line is that you can wash this. You can't wash down. I was at REI the other day and they said that you can wash down. They've got some like wick wax detergent that prevents the down from bunching up or whatever. That I think that that's nonsense. You can't wash down at all. You cannot wash down. So that's what you get here. You get to get down and dirty and sweaty and greasy and grimy, you know, whatever. You can party and stuff in these synthetic garments and throw them in the washing machine, and that's pretty much the advantage. Okay, so there they are in their stuff sacks. This is pretty big and robust. It's not that squishable. Okay, there's the Nano Puff. Next to it, here's the thermostatic. Obviously is a little bit smaller. Now this isn't even that small. Down is a lot smaller than that, so that gives you an idea of how big they are.